Assalamualaikum. Welcome to ILAM Research Webinar Series 2021. ILAM Research Webinar Series is a platform for ILAM to share the finding of the research conducted by ILAM under the Education and Research Committee. I am Dr. Syakirin. Today, we will be sharing another research findings conducted by one of the researchers on behalf of ILAM. For your information, ILAM have launched 3 areas of research in 2021. Research number 1 was intended to study on the post-COVID public park design consideration in relation to public health and safety. Number 2, the study on the cost implication on the public park maintenance. And number 3 was the study to gauge the gap between landscape maintenance practice and facility management practice for public park. Today, we will be sharing the research findings from the research conducted by Assistant Professor Dr. Syakirin from IIUM on the topic of gauging the gap between landscape maintenance practice and facility management practice for public park. While the researcher presenting, I would like to invite all viewers to share your views, suggestions, and also engage with the Q&A sessions with the researcher through the comment box below. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Syakirin to share his research findings from his study on the gauging the gap between landscape maintenance practice and facilities management practice for public park. Welcome, Dr. Syakirin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank ILAM for giving me an opportunity to do the research under ILAM Research Grant 2021. The title of my research is Gauging the Gap Between Landscape Maintenance Practice and Facilities Management Practice for Public Park. So allow me to share the presentation. Okay, so what the contents of my presentation today, would like to focus on the background of the study, the problem statement, 3 research objectives, some of our literature reviews, research framework and methodology, and the most important thing is the findings and recommendations. So nowadays, more humans are living in the urban areas like cities like KL, Penang, and Johor Bahru, and also mega cities like other places in Dubai and others, compared to the rural areas. Okay, according to the data from the World Bank, it shows a trend of growth of urban population. Okay, by 2020, around 56.15% of world humans population living in urban areas, just comparing to the only 33.6% in 1960s. And also the data in Malaysia shows in 2020 that around 77% of Malaysian total population also live in the urban areas. Thus, this trend of living in urban areas and cities have created many health and social issues. So the background of the studies for this research is by having public parks, the urban population can use it to sustain healthy life and maintain a good living conditions. And according to the literature, Ahmad, and according to him, that public parks or urban parks are known as places for recreation, activity, and enjoyment. Therefore, most of the components of public parks are suited with human activities, especially for recreational, wellness, and relaxing. Furthermore, Danishpour and Mahmudpour in 2009 stated in their study that it has been widely recognized that urban public parks play an essential role in enhancing the quality of life in urban areas, and they have a strategic importance for the quality of life of the increasing urbanized societies, as well as being particularly beneficial where stress is a common aspect of life. According to Azian in 2012, these are some of the roles and functions of urban landscape, which can be categorized into 4 main roles. The first role in terms of economic benefits. Second, environmental improvement. Third, social implication. Fourth, cultural value, and fifth, physical and psychological advantages. So generally, public park can be divided into two components. The first one is hardscape, which include bench, bin, playground, board light, and etc. And the second component would be softscapes, which are referring to trees, shrub, ground covers, and grass. So in order to ensure the full benefits of public parks, especially to the end users, so these two components have to be well maintained. So the problem statement, when we look at some of the literature reviews, stated that there are many previous studies on this urban park or a public park, but the question is how effective the maintenance management, especially to the public parks. Okay, and meanwhile, some of the other studies on urban green spaces or urban landscape have not received much attention. Okay, there are some few studies have been carried out in this area. Some of the problems related to the maintenance of public parks, one is on the condition of the park itself in relation to the uncollected rubbish, damaged or dead trees, improper man-made landscape elements, etc., which can tarnish the image of the park and resulting in negative perceptions to the users. Okay. The second problem statement is that the insufficient of maintenance workers, which also contributes the visual quality degradation of the park elements. The third problem statement would be the insufficient budget, which also contributes to the landscape maintenance problems, which perhaps can related to the previous problem, like the insufficient manpower and also the uncollected rubbish and so on. Okay, the fourth problem statement would be the low maintenance standards without good management procedures, which also can lead to low landscape quality of landscape development areas and influences the end user's experience. So all these problems would be the end result of the hypothesis of why most of the public parks are not being well maintained, even though I believe that in the local authorities they would have the maintenance workers and also the maintenance companies to maintain the public park. But the big question mark is that how relevant the maintenance workers, the maintenance management being practiced by the landscape maintenance, and either this can be answered by implementing a good maintenance standard, and also the hypothesis is that how this facilities management can assist to upgrade the standards of the maintenance management, the current maintenance management being practiced by the either local authorities for the maintenance or management of the public park, and or for the maintenance contractors. Okay, and so therefore the keyword here is that perhaps it lack of management systems. Okay, even though as I mentioned, the landscape maintenance, they are practicing currently the maintenance management, but it seems like the crucial thing is on the lack of the management system in the current maintenance activities or maintenance management. So therefore, it is necessary especially for the park managers, for the maintenance managers, to have a good understanding of many fields, which also include the landscape architecture, horticulture, forestry, and personal management, and the most important thing is the facilities management knowledge. Another literature shows that reviews argues that the most of the development failure of recreation site is also close related with low maintenance standard and weak planning. The daily maintenance in terms of maintenance management for a landscape are referring to the effort to preserve, to restore, and to keep all the existing landscape elements, as I mentioned, perhaps the hardscape and also the softscapes in satisfaction and good conditions. Okay, the activities perhaps can encompass these the cleaning works, the sweeping, fallen leaves, and throwing rubbish, and so on. Okay, so there is a need for the management to provide enough budgets every year for landscape maintenance aspect in terms of providing the good maintenance budget. Another literature that when we try to look in detail about the maintenance, landscape maintenance or maintenance management for landscapes, one good study from these two authors, Syakirin and Suyani, in terms of development of framework for the best practice in maintenance management for public recreation park, the case study of Muar Public Recreation Park. Okay, it shows that there are 6 best practices which have been developed within the framework of maintenance management of Muar Public Recreation Park. Okay, and we are referring to this figure. It shows the 6 practices: the staffing model, goal, standards and design, staff maintenance, develop plans, and also the sustainable maintenance. So the research objectives of this research is first is to analyze the existing public park landscape maintenance and facility management practice in Malaysia. A second objective is to conduct comparative study between landscape maintenance and facility management practice in Malaysia. And the third one is to recommend for improvement based on the finding from the first and second objectives. Some of our literature reviews, the keyword for literature reviews for this research are 4. The first one on the facilities management, the second one on the maintenance management, the third one the public park management, and the fourth is the public park landscape maintenance. Okay, first thing first, we would like to look at the facilities management. Okay, the facilities management is not a new thing in Malaysia. We have started in Malaysia since 2007, and in fact that facility management also being practiced in one of the ministry, the Ministry of Health, since 1998. Okay, but the real information or the real thing about facilities management is the some misunderstanding about the facility management itself compared to the maintenance management. So what happened in NAFAM, National Asset and Facilities Management Conference held in 2007, has cleared the perception through the NAFAM. The facility management has we try to make it more objectives by looking at the components of facilities management itself and the comparison between the FM and the asset management. So this figure shows the FM, the facility management, is a subset of asset management. Meanwhile, the maintenance management and property management are the subsets of facilities management. So therefore, the maintenance management can be considered as one of the activities under the facilities management. So what is FM? According to BIFM, this is the old name of IWFM. BIFM is referring to British Institute of Facilities Management, and they have renamed their institute as IWFM, Institute of Workplace and Facilities Management. Okay, so BIFM has defined FM as the practice of coordinating the physical workplace with the people and work of an organization. So these are 3 tiers to coordinate the physical workplace, the people, and the work. Okay, we are referring to the process of an organization. Meanwhile, MAFM is Malaysian Association of Facilities Management, defined FM as the total management that integrates all services to support the core business of an organization. So if you can just try to illustrate the core business and the non-core businesses. If I can just give an example of what is a core business and what are the non-core businesses. Okay, different organizations have a different core business. Okay, as example, university, the core business of a university is to teach and to learn, or TNL, teaching and learning. Meanwhile, for hospital is a patient care. Perhaps the public park also we need to redefine or define the public park. Okay, so the non-core businesses are the support core for the core businesses. Okay, for the core business. If we look at this list of the FM services, which we can describe it into three services: the management services, the technical services, and the non-technical services. So these are some of the services under facilities management that can support the core business of an organization. Okay, in terms of management services, we are looking at the strategic level, in terms of operational plan, in terms of providing the asset lifecycle budgeting, to develop the asset and maintenance management information system, in order and also to during the crisis or disaster, the management services under the facilities management services also can come up with the crisis and disaster recovery plan. Okay, and also to provide the business process in terms of quality management system, and also to provide the services for project management, especially for upgrading and refurbishment of the facilities or the assets. Meanwhile, technical services and the non-technical services, we are referring to the either the operational management or the maintenance management. The technical services, most of these services are referring to the either mechanical or electrical engineering services for the asset or for the facility. Meanwhile, the non-technical services, or sometimes we call it as operational management, we are referring to the non-engineering services. Okay, for example, like cleaning works, hygiene control services, solid and scheduled waste disposal, and the most important thing related to the public park or the landscape is the maintenance of landscape, hardscape and ground, space planning and relocation, and domestic animal and pest control. Meanwhile, this the next figure shows the scope of FM contract, where it can be divided into 7 scopes: project management, maintenance repair, facility operation, space planning, planning and development, administration management, and business support services. Okay, for the landscape, it should be under the maintenance and repairs, under landscape and groundkeeping, which consistent with the FM services, is under non-technical services. Okay, but still under maintenance work. Okay, the next figure shows the integrated FM deliverables, which these are we are referring it to the integrated FM provided by a company, okay, by the outsourced company for the organization. So if the company is being contract out with this integrated FM, so the company or the maintenance contractor will do all these deliverables or the services under the contract. Okay, the next item that I would like to share with you is the types of assets. According to the manual pengurusan aset menyeluruh kerajaan in 2009, especially for the government asset, can be divided into 2 main assets, either the asset semasa or asset bukan semasa. Okay, for the asset semasa, we are referring to tunai and pelaburan. This is under the financial institution. But for the facilities, we are looking at the asset bukan semasa, especially in the blue color coding for the asset physical or the physical asset instead of asset bukan physical, the non-physical asset, which are referring to the human HR or human resource, okay, the intellect. But we are looking at the blue color coding. This physical asset can be further developed or can be further discussed. Okay, where the physical asset can be described into three components: the asset teralih or the fixed asset, the asset alih or the removable asset, and asset hidup life asset. Okay, for the fixed asset can be divided into three components: asset tanah, asset infrastruktur, and asset bangunan. For the asset alih, we are referring to the asset harta modal or the inventory. And the most important thing for our research is looking at the asset hidup, the life asset. Okay, under the asset menyeluruh kerajaan being divided into three categories of the asset hidup or life asset, which is tumbuhan, vegetation, haiwan, animals, and fish or ikan. Okay, the second part of the literature review are looking at the maintenance management. What is maintenance? Being defined as in BS, British Standard, as a combination of any actions carried out to retain an item in or to restore it to an acceptable condition. Okay. So the maintenance can further discuss in terms of types of maintenance. First thing first, the organization should have their own maintenance policy. So in the case of a public park under, let's say, under local authority or Majlis Perbandaran, the local authority should have a good maintenance policy. Okay, to show the commitment, and the most important thing is how to come up with a proper maintenance management. So in order to do the maintenance management, we need to know the types of maintenance. Okay, type maintenance can be divided into two types: either it's planned maintenance or the unplanned maintenance. For the planned maintenance, we have two main types of planned maintenance, which can be described as a preventive planned maintenance and the corrective planned maintenance. Okay, for the unplanned maintenance, we have two types: either it's breakdown or emergency. Okay, further discussed for the preventive and corrective. The preventive can have either it's condition-based maintenance or time-based maintenance. Meanwhile, the corrective planned maintenance can be divided into three: either it's a breakdown maintenance, run to failure maintenance, and emergency maintenance. So how we describe this, either it's preventive or corrective, is that if it is a preventive, we are preventing something wrong happen in future. Okay, but for the corrective planned maintenance is we are looking at what we should do if the assets fail. Okay, and we can plan it accordingly for future. Okay, but if you can refer to the unplanned maintenance, even though they also have breakdown emergency, this unplanned maintenance is referring to the we are not planning anything, either to do the preventive or the corrective. Okay, this is according to the this description is we are referring to the either a breakdown or emergency. Okay. So the next section is on the public park management. I've shared you this the roles and function of urban landscape in the previous slides. Okay, there are 5 roles: either economic benefits, environmental improvement, social implication, cultural value, and physical and psychological advantages. In the public park landscape maintenance, one of the from the literature review, we found that the quality of urban landscape may be judged by its ability to meet the needs of its user. So the term used here is the quality of urban landscape. And according to this literature, quality of urban landscape are requiring those who are responsible for planning, the management, and the most important thing is the maintenance of the urban landscape. Another finding from the literature review, we found that the systematic literature review being done by Khairusy Park in 2017, and they are looking at the maintenance, okay, according to the 34 numbers of literatures, okay, mentioning about the either significant or not significant discussion about maintenance in this list of papers that being reviewed by the author. When we look at the soft-scale maintenance, usually we are referring to the vegetation, to the tree, or to grass and others. Okay, and the activities related to the soft-scale maintenance for tree are referring to these 6 items: pruning, pest management, fertilizing, weeding, irrigation, and mulching. Okay, and in terms of practice of maintaining a tree, okay, from this literature shows some of these lists. Okay, in terms of site analysis, in terms of irrigation, fertilization, pest management, mowing and pruning, and mulching. Okay, so the list here showing the practice on how to do this maintenance for tree. Okay, for example, like for the fertilization, applying the nitrogen, fertilize with sparingly to reduce the need to prune, and so on and so forth. So these are the lists that we can consider as a good practice, and also therefore we can put it under the proper maintenance policy and guideline or SOP for doing the maintenance for tree or for the soft-scale So another thing is on the data. This literature shows the importance of gathering data in terms of to do the tree pruning maintenance, in terms of times or years since last prune, type of work completed, tree diameter class, time and equipment to complete the work, clearance prior to pruning, clearance obtained, and the weight of chip debris. And another literature shows the factors affecting tree pruning maintenance costs. Okay, same, we need to have numbers of years, okay, or years since last prune, pre-work clearance, type of pruning, and tree diameter. Another literature shows in the US Department of Interior, the maintenance management practice focuses on staff development, okay, especially in the view of work experience, attitudes, education skills, and capabilities of staff to interact with the public. Okay, so this shows that the maintenance management is a labor intensive, and to do the maintenance, we need to have a good quality of maintenance workers, maintenance managers, okay, where it's related to the as listed by this literature in terms of work experience, attitudes, education skills, capabilities. So for this research, the framework of the research, it can be shown like this. Before we can discuss on the facilities management, we need to know the design first, especially for the urban park or the park, and the planting knowledge, especially for the soft skills. And therefore we can just to look at the facilities management practices in terms of either maintenance management or the operational management. So in terms of maintenance management, as a briefly discuss about the maintenance management, we need to know types of maintenance, okay, either planned maintenance or unplanned maintenance, and so on. And another thing is we need to know how to do the budget, especially for the maintenance budget, and the most important thing also to come up with a good performance management, especially for the maintenance team. And then the second part of the facility management would like to look at the operational management in terms of either pest control or cleaning work, which I think these two are related to the maintenance for a park. So the research methodology for the research, we use the a case study approach by using the qualitative methodology, by using the structured interview, which has been conducted with an expert from the KLCC Urus Harta of the facilities management unit. Okay, and KLCC has been chosen as a case study for this research based on its world recognition as one of the best urban park. So the research of the previous research also, our own research also showed the maintenance of hardscape of at urban park, especially at the KLCC. So the findings would be the KLCC itself as a case study. KLCC was opened in public to public in May 1998, which consists of 50 acres of area and located in the center of the KLCC precinct. It was designed by the late Roberto Bull Marx in order to showcase the heritage of tropical greenery by integrating man's creation with nature. So KLCC Park consists of around 1,680 numbers of trees and palms with amenities with locally inspired nature's traditional architecture. KLCC to this date has been certified with numbers of ISO in terms of quality management system, ISO 9001, ISO 14001 environmental management system, ISO 15001 on the occupational health and safety management system, ISO 18788 on the security operational management system, and ISO 37001 anti-bribery management system. So when we do the structured interview with the expert from KLCC UH Osaka, we try to find the answer for this question. Okay, the most important thing is that how KLCC ensuring the quality of maintenance being done properly. Okay, so the answer would be because they have adequate maintenance budget, and also the most important thing is that they have a good SLA or service level agreement. So some of the suggestion from the KLCC Urusata is in terms of how to improve the maintenance management at the public parks, especially managed by the local government, is by developing the FM competencies modules, especially for the Jabatan Landscape Negara through ILAM perhaps, organizing training FM competencies for Jabatan Landscape Negara through ILAM, to enhance the understanding of function of maintenance management, which includes in FM practices, and also to establish the FM perhaps department or unit at the local government agencies. Okay, instead of only have a maintenance team. So we believe that to improve the maintenance for a public park, what has been done by the KLCC is that there is one department called as a facilities management department instead of maintenance management unit or department. So some of other findings in terms of observation from our previous research, we found that for the public park, especially for the hardscape, okay, for bench, beams, playground, and lamp posts, when we do the comparison between a good, well-maintained park like in KLCC or in Putrajaya, compared to local authority public park, okay, we can see that there is some degradation of the assets. okay, especially for these two types of components of hardscape, the bench and the waste bin. Okay, these are due to because of the material use and the maintenance budget being provided to maintain properly. Okay, especially these hardscape components. Okay, these are also observation also been done in KLCC Park, types of beans. Okay, there's a type A, type B beans, type C, type D beans, type E, type F beans, and also the type A benches. Okay, type A, type B bench, type C bench, type D bench. Okay, so from the findings, so we like to recommend in order to answer the research questions, okay, or research objective of this research. The first research objective is to analyze an existing public park landscape maintenance and facility management practice in Malaysia. So from the findings from a case study at KLCC Park and in-depth interview with the expert in KLCC UH, first point is that the landscape maintenance in KLCC Park has been managed by the facilities management department or contractors. Due to that, KLCC Park is well maintained and internationally awarded by prestigious awards. The maintenance team has to be retrained with FM knowledge, and there are some misunderstandings about maintenance management and FM or facility management, which most of the maintenance team thinks that FM is a subset of maintenance management. And as I showed you before in the previous slides, that through NAFAM in 2007, so we try to reorganize it, okay, where the maintenance management is one of the subset of facilities management instead of the maintenance management is a larger scope under the FM. So therefore, to gauge a gap between landscape maintenance and FM, few recommendations have been formulated. We are referring to the next slides. Okay, from the observation inventory analysis of KLCC Park in terms of research finding bins and seating. Okay, the location of bins are strategically located around the KLCC Park. The bins are well maintained by the park authority based on the minimum defects found during the site visit, and the material used are good for outside use, durable and easy to spot. Meanwhile, for seating, most of seating are well designed with a proper material used based on public behavior towards the seating available in the park during site visit. Okay, seating are also well maintained by the park authority, and the material selection for seatings are good. It is based on their function and requirement of the park users and authority. The second objective is to conduct a comparative study between landscape maintenance and FM practice in Malaysia. So what we have done from the literature reviews, finding shows that the maintenance management or focusing to the public park landscape maintenance is a subset activity under FM. So findings also shows that public park landscape maintenance activities are being considered as operation management instead of purely on the maintenance management, as the maintenance for softscape is not considered as a technical services, as I mentioned before, but we are referring it to the non-technical services, or we can call it as operational management. But for the hardscape maintenance, it also can be grouped under the technical services, normal maintenance management practice. So the third objective is to recommend for improvement based on the findings. So what we come up with this figure that it should start with the knowledge management and continue with the FM practices. So under the knowledge management, we need to develop the FM competencies for landscape in terms of maintenance management, and to conduct the training, the FM competence training modules for landscape. And for to do the FM practices, we need to establish the FM department or unit at the local government agencies and develop the SOP or standard operating procedures for FM practices. Okay, for the FM competencies for landscape maintenance management, what we have currently, not only in the literature but through these various institutes like RICS, IFMA is the International Facility Management Association based in US, or BIFM, British Institute FM, is a common FM competencies, but it is not focusing on the especially for the landscape practice or landscape maintenance management for landscape or for the urban park. So we would like to suggest, especially to ILAM, together we can further develop these FM competencies for especially for landscape maintenance management. To conduct based on the previous this competency list, so then we can further develop the training modules, okay, in terms of management knowledge, okay, and also the facility knowledge. Okay, we'd like to suggest to ILAM, perhaps we can work together to come up with a proper training module based on the FM competencies as mentioned before. Then we need to establish the FM department or unit at the local government agencies, okay, such as Majlis Daerah or Majlis Bandaran. Okay, and the most important thing is that that landscape maintenance team should be managed or should be led by the facilities management or the facility manager. And lastly, to develop the SOP, the standard operating procedure for FM practices, when the FM unit has been set up at the local government agencies. So we need to further develop the few policies, the SOPs, okay, according to the manual pengurusan aset kerajaan as I mentioned before, and the new guidelines for life asset also needs to be developed. So therefore, the conclusion from this research, for the findings of the research, found that maintenance management for urban parks have been practiced by the owner of the park, but misunderstanding of maintenance management, which only be referred it to as a independent unit, is not in line with the overall concept of FM. Therefore, to gauge the gap between maintenance management for park with FM is by one, enhancing the knowledge of FM among the maintenance team, and to establish the FM unit in the local authorities who are currently managing the public park. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Syakirin. To all viewers, feel free to engage in the discussion with the researcher through the comment box below, and don't forget to screenshot your attendance in this webinar. Based on the presentation, we can learn that there are differences between facilities management practice and maintenance practice for public park. Maintenance of the park will be more effective and organized should the practice engage through facility management system. All in all, the study also suggests that the process of maintenance of the park should be part of facility management activity, which cover and integrate all important related aspects. All research findings will be published in the ILAM website. Feel free to visit ILAM website for more information about the study. We hope the finding of the research can serve as a reference for all to continue developing our profession and contributing to the people's well-being. On behalf of ILAM, I would like to once again thank Dr. Syakirin for conducting this research and sharing it with us today. Thank you everyone for joining ILAM Research Webinar Series 2021. And don't forget to like and share this ILAM webinar, and also to like our ILAM FB page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Assalamualaikum. Have a good day ahead.